Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rotten Views podcast. And because I'm an idiot, I don't remember what number we're on. We're on episode 232. I knew that whole time. I was hoping that you guys would guess it and tell me, even though I can't hear you guys because this is a pre-recorded podcast and not a live thing, and there's no audio or like audience interaction. But I was just playing with you guys. This is episode 232. Hopefully you guys are in for a fun one. I've got a lot of coffee in my system right now. It's Tuesday, and I shoveled a lot of fucking snow yesterday on what was supposed to be like a family day. But, you know, seeing I live in an apartment building with a bunch of old people, I decided I'd be nice and shovel out a bunch of people's vehicles for them. Just because I'm a nice guy. I mean, that was quite the intro for this episode, wasn't it? We got a fun one for you, hopefully. Like always, this is the first time watch for me for this episode. I haven't watched this movie at all yet upon doing this intro, so for all I know, this movie could suck. But for you who have actually read the title, we're watching a movie from 1996. It's called Space Truckers. I've heard about it a couple times, but I've never actually watched it. So I figured, why not? Might as well watch it for the podcast. No better time to do it than now, so that's what we're doing this week. But before we do get into all that kind of fun stuff, let's do a little bit of housekeeping like we do every single episode.
Housekeeping?
Don't think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
As always, if you guys could, if you're on Spotify, make sure to hit that follow button, hit that share button. The share button means a lot. But also, if you could give it a star review or star rating, whatever you want to call it. It goes up to 5 stars. You want to give it a 5-star? I appreciate it very, very much. If you want to give it a 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, whatever. If you really want to give it a 1-star, then shame on you, and I'm going to put a curse on you at some point in time. I hope a bunch of snow falls on your head when you're least expecting it. I don't care if you're in Florida, wherever you might be. I hope it falls on your head. That's my curse for you. But no, seriously, if you can just give it a star rating, I appreciate it. But that share button does help out a lot, so just hit the share button on whatever platform you're on. Just share the podcast, share the art channel, share the YouTube channel, share the Twitch channel, share whatever you want. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it nonetheless. If you're on Apple or iTunes, feel free to leave a review over there as well. I know there's been a couple issues lately of finding the podcast on iTunes for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't really looked into it either, to be honest with you, because I'm not an Apple user and I don't really like Apple products, but that's just my personal preference. But yeah, if you can, follow me on all social medias at TyphonSlam. We're on X, we're on TikTok, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We have the YouTube channel where I drop a new gaming video each and every single week. We also have various shorts over there, art videos. We do live streams over there. We also do live stream on Twitch, so definitely go check out the Twitch channel as well. I've been streaming there a little bit more, like using the YouTube channel for like the more short content and the edited videos and whatnot. There's also episodes of the podcast as well on YouTube, so definitely go do that. And when we do hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, going to be giving away some free artwork, so definitely hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications. That way you get notified every single time we go live with a new video or a live stream or all that other fun crap. I feel like I've been talking a mile a minute right now at this point in time at this intro. I think it might be all the coffee getting to me. It really might be. Or maybe I'm just in a really good mood. Or not. I don't really know. But hopefully this is a fun episode, and hopefully this energy goes through the episode, and hopefully this movie doesn't drag down my mind and my mood set, because Well, that's no fun. I'm sure it's going to be a fun movie. It looks like a fun movie nonetheless. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this movie. Hopefully you'll follow me on all social medias and all that other fun stuff. And hopefully you guys are having a good week so far. Hopefully it's going to be a good week. It's a short week for me, so that's cool. So hopefully I can get a bunch of extra stuff done in this short week, but we'll see. I got actually 2 weeks worth of lunchbox drawings done for my daughter, so definitely go follow the Instagram or the Facebook page to see those on there, as well as the YouTube channel. I haven't uploaded them yet, to be honest with you, at this point. I will have them uploaded before this podcast is actually out, but as for actually posting them beforehand, I haven't gotten around to it yet. But it is what it is. So enough of all that ranting and stuff. Let's talk about the movie at hand. We're talking about Space Truckers from 1996. It's a sci-fi comedy for an hour and 35 minutes. You can watch it for free on Tubi. Apparently you can also watch it on Amazon Prime. But Tubi's a great app. You'll see a bunch of other movies that are just as awesome as this movie's probably going to be. So definitely go check it out on Tubi. They're not a sponsor unless they want to be a sponsor at some point in time. I wouldn't say no. Just putting that out there. This movie has a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 4.3 out of 5 on Amazon.ca. 67% of Google users have enjoyed this movie. Initial release date, October 1996, with a budget of $25 million and a box office of $1.6 million. That's probably why nobody ever talks about this movie, because the box office just destroyed it. The description, as read on IMDb for this movie: a space trucker and his cute fiancée are on their way from a space station to Earth with unknown cargo when space pirates hijack them. 5,000 degenerate robots are found in the cargo. So as always, we're at this point in time where we talk about like the writer, director, and some of the stars of the movie. We actually have the director, who's also one of the writers, so he's doing a little bit of double duty. That is Stuart Gordon. Finally, someone I can pronounce their name properly. That doesn't happen too often on this episode, or on this podcast, I should say. I can't even talk right, but that's okay. So, Stewart was also the director for 1992's Fortress. He was the writer for 1986, From Beyond. That's a good movie. As well as the writer for 2007, Stuck. But something that you would know him best for, and something that I love very much. He was the writer for 1985's Reanimator. And by the looks of it, he was also the writer for 66 episodes from 1987 to 2000 of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. I don't recall there being a TV show. I remember the movies. I do not remember the TV show at all. Also, there's a video in 1997 where he also did the writing. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. I don't remember that one either. Am I just getting really old? Or is it just really forgettable? I don't know which one it is. The other writer for this one is Ted Mann. Good, I can pronounce that name as well. I'm on a roll. He was a writer for 3 episodes in 2012 of Hetfields and McCoys. He was the producer for 36 episodes from 2015 to 2018 of Homeland. He was the producer for 24 episodes from 2005 to 2006 of Deadwood, as well as the producer for 42 episodes from 1993 to 1995 of NYPD Blue. I've only watched NYPD Blue of that whole list. I have wanted to watch Deadwood, but never got around to it. And I probably never will, to be honest with you, because there's too many other TV shows that I want to watch that probably outrank that one. Now we're getting to the part where we talk about some of the cast members of this. For some reason, a bunch of the main people that they want me to talk about, like the top 3 billed ones, aren't really that interesting, but I will talk about one of them. It's Ian Beatty, who's best known for being in 17 episodes of Game of Thrones, where he plays Meryn Trant. I don't remember that character. I'm going to be honest with you. I liked Game of Thrones for a bit, but then I got bored of it, because that's just how I am. I'm not fully into the medieval dragons crap anymore. I think I kind of grew past that. 2 people that aren't at the top of the casting list for whatever reason, but I'm going to talk about them just because I know these actors and I want to talk about them. We have Dennis Hopper, who's playing a character called Jack Canyon, and of course we know Dennis Hopper from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He was also Billy in 1969's Easy Rider. He was Frank Booth in 1986's Blue Velvet. He was Howard Payne in 1994's Speed, as well as Deacon in 1995's Waterworld. But yeah, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in 1986, he was Lieutenant Lefty Enright, one of the characters I love in that series so much. Also in 1986, he was in River's Edge playing Feck. That's another good movie that I need to do for the podcast, because it's been a goddamn long time since I watched that one. And the other actor we're going to talk about is Stephen Dorff, who's playing Mike Pookie. I think there was one other episode of the podcast I did. I think he was one of the brothers in Judgment Night. but I could be wrong. I can't remember if he was or not. But he's best known for being Deacon Frost in 1998's Blade. He was Johnny Marco in 2010's Somewhere. He was Scott Strauss in 2006 World Trade Center, and in 2008 he was Wade Porter in Felon. I also don't remember his character in this, but he plays Detective Roland West in 8 episodes in 2019 of True Detective. I need to revisit that show as well. I love that show. I didn't watch the second season that much, but the first season with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, Chef Kiss, I love that movie. I mean, I love that TV show. It pretty much could have been a movie because of the quality of it in my eyes, but it was super great TV show. Definitely highly recommend it. So we're going to jump to the tagline for this movie, and this movie is keeping it nice and simple and easy. The tagline is Earth's only hope. Alright, so now that we got all that fun stuff out of the way, let's get ready to talk about the movie at hand. This will be your first and final warning, actually. If you guys are new to this podcast, thank you for showing up. I talk about the movies from start to finish and hit all the points in between that interest me. So, if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1996, feel free to pause it now, go watch it for free on Amazon, maybe. I don't know, you might actually have to rent it. Or just go watch it for free on Tubi. Or just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie. I'll either make you really want to watch the movie, or you'll be like, you know what? I don't need to watch that movie. It doesn't sound that good. Hopefully it'll be the first one. Hopefully you'll listen to the podcast and then go watch the movie just to see how you enjoy it yourself. But that being said, sit back, get some snacks, get some treats. If it's a cold night, get a hot chocolate. If you're sitting at home, got nothing better to do, you got the fire going. Listen to me talk about movies for some freaking reason. I don't understand why, but that's besides the point. If you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. And if you're in the car, please keep your eyes on the road at all times and focus on where you're going. Don't need you run into a snowbank or over someone or hitting someone. We want everyone to be safe and sound and get to where they're going. So with that being said, let's get ready to start the movie at hand right now.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight...
Attention, all personnel. The room is sealed.
Set your weapons for close range!
In the year 2196...
Just lost contact with Command Post 3 outside the second perimeter.
It's right outside!
Someone has developed the ultimate destructive force. All they need is a man who'll deliver.
What have you got?
It is a rush shipment to Earth.
No questions asked.
We'll do it.
Jeez, I've never seen trailers like these before. They look,
creepy.
Better power down, Canyon.
It's coming! Look out!
You gotta tell us how to stop these things.
Dennis Hopper, Stephen Dorff, and Debbie Mazar.
Fire it up!
Space Truckers.
We got the movie starting out with this full-on space scene, and we see that it's Triton, largest moon of Neptune that we're coming across. We got this kind of superhero style music playing in the background, and we see our point of view getting closer and closer to this moon as we're moving through the craters on the moon, and then we see this space station of some sort on top of the moon, and then we see a bunch of soldiers moving their way through this compound as alarms are all going off. I mean, they kind of look like funny looking space rangers, kind of like, discount Star Wars characters of some sort. But they look kind of fun, and it might be something I want to draw at some point in time. Just because they got a space trooper kind of look to them as well. And they're putting all their guns on stun because they don't want to kill whatever's coming at them, I guess. And we see this fancy science lab guys in silver coats, and they're looking for results for some tests that they're doing, I guess, maybe. I'm not really too sure. But then we see this one guy who's getting shot down out of the sky, and one of their scientists starts smirking about it because see, I'm going to show you some results here, sir. The main science guy is E.J. Saggs, and we see the building starting to shake a little bit, and the doors starting to shake a little bit. And he's like, what the hell is that? What is out there? And then we see all the guys aiming at the front door that's locked, and we see this big melting spot opening up through the door, and Nabel is the second in command scientist guys, and he's just standing in the back smiling as this alien creature melts through the door and comes in, and then all the soldier guys are shooting at him, but it doesn't seem to be doing any damage to him at all. So then we just see this alien monster creature, and he's just shooting lasers out of his eyes, and we see everyone just kind of melting. You get some legs getting chopped off with some laser beams, and we've got this one scientist gets like half their head domed off, and it's like this boily looking, top piece that's just sitting there. And then the alien gets closer and closer to Sags, and then Nabel just presses the button in his pocket, and he's like, see, all good, we're good, I got it. And then Sags gets back up off the floor, and he turns off the sonar, and the alarm says, he's like, this exercise is completed, everyone can stand down, if you're still alive at least. And Sags is like, Nabel, well, enough of these things. We could take over the world. And Nabel's like, what world? Earth. We could take over Earth, man. So Sags is like, so how many of these bad boys do we already have? And Nabel's like, well, just a couple. 5,000. He's like, you astonish me every single time. So then Nabel, being the dumbass that he is, he gives the control to Sags. And Sags is like, you're such a good man. If I had the power, I will give you a very hefty bonus. But sadly, I'm going to have to press this button so that the alien creature you just created kills you, and that way there's no proof of whoever created these guys. So, goodbye. Then we have some country music playing. We got the intro credits starting to play, and as they're coming through the space system, the universe, we see this like beer can with still like the plastic tie around it falling through space. But then we see this nice like Space Truckers logo pop up, which looks really good. It make an awesome patch, to be honest with you. So if anyone has a patch out there, that's pretty cool. But yeah, then we just see like this bad CGI space transport making its way through space. I love bad CGI. Then over the CB radio, we hear somebody talking, asking if they could dock at the space station with their space truck. And of course, it's John Cannon, Dennis Hopper's character. And he's got mayonnaise, or mustard, floating through his truck because, the space and stuff. And he's trying to put mustard on his hot dog as he's eating. He's like, I got jacked up hog here. I'm getting ready to dock to get a new load. And then Keller comes on the radio, and that's George Wenditt's character. And he's like, Canyon, you're 2 days overdue with your load. Park your load and park your mouth. And then we see Canyon getting up, and he's talking to his Navi system on the space truck, and it's called Bitchin' Betty. And Bitchin' Betty's like, alright, I'm gonna activate the magnet floor. And we see him walk around with his magnet shoes on, and I'm getting a real like Super Mario movie style vibe from it. Anyways, he goes to check on his cargo, and it's a bunch of pigs in square cages, and they look really fucked up, to be honest with you, but it's kind of funny to look at. Then Keller comes on the truck with 2 henchmen guys. He's like, unhitch your load there, Canyon, and come by the store later, the shop, and I'll cut you your check. And Canyon's like, actually, I'll get my money first, and then I'll unload the load, because I don't want to lose my money, because I don't trust you. So then Keller's like, Jackie, you go show Canyon, a thing or two, kick his ass. So then Jackie goes to punch Canyon, but Canyon blocks. He's like, no, Jackie, this is not how you throw a punch in zero gravity. Let me show you. So then Canyon punches him, and we just see Jackie's like teeth going all over the place and blood going all over the place. He's like, oh, my face. So then we have Canyon going into the diner where he sits down to talk to the waitress that he's apparently friends with, and that's when we meet Steven Dorff's character, Mike Pucci. He goes to shake Canyon's hand. He's like, I'm not getting that acquainted with you, that better kid. I don't really want to talk to you too much. And then Mike gets called away to his dock so he can take a load because he's a new trucker. And then Canyon goes to eat his leftovers, and then the waitress Cindy's like, no, sorry, new rule. We gotta recycle all leftovers. We can't let anyone eat them. He's like, oh, that's some fucking horse shit. And we find out that Cindy wants to go to Earth, and apparently no one's going to take her on because she's like a liability. And then we find out that Canyon's actually apparently proposed to Cindy multiple times, and she shot him down each time. And Cindy's like, I gotta get back to work, but if you can get me to Earth and still want to marry me once we get to Earth, I'll marry you if you can get me to Earth. He's like, alright. Challenge accepted. Then we see the outside of Canyon's truck, and it's all nice and it's cool. It's got flames all over the side of it. But inside, we then see Jackie and one of his buddies, and they're hot wiring it so they can drop the load on Canyon's truck and make it just disappear. And then we see Canyon inside talking to a bunch of other truck drivers, and they're discussing things that were happening and how there's like terrorist attack or like pirate attacks, I guess. And then he's looking out the window. He's like, son of a bitch, someone's hijacking my load. So then we see Mike. He's talking to Keller. He's like, so I just understand that you just passed the schooling portion of this, and I need a load of square pigs to go to Chicago. wherever, someplace. And Mike's like, isn't that Canyon's route usually? He's like, Canyon got fired, so you want the route or not? So then we have Canyon and Mike talking at the diner bar area, and there's a little bit of commotion going on between the two of them, because Mike's like, I'm sorry I took your job and I took your route. I got no money, I got no credits, I need to, take a load of Triton. He's like, you took that load of Triton? I hope you can live yourself, punk. And then Keller comes in. He's like, I need you off this station right now, Canyon. You no longer work here. You're not getting paid. We fueled up your truck, so get the hell out of here. And then we see like a little bar diner fight breaking out. We got Canyon fighting Keller, and then Mike comes in and starts beating up Jackie and beating up a bunch of other guys. And of course, Canyon's going after Keller, and Keller's yelling, Jackie, come on, do something, help me. Jackie, being the dumbass, pulls out a space gun, goes to shoot it, but hits a window, and then the window breaks. So now we have everyone getting sucked towards the window, and we see Keller. Canyon actually tries to save him, but Keller gets pushed up against the window. He's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're not going to get sucked through the window, guys, because I'm a fat ass, and I'm going to hold it. And then he's like, oh no, I'm getting sucked through the window now. So then we see Canyon saving Cindy and Mike, and they're going into the ladies' washroom for whatever reason, when we see a bunch of porta potty stalls. And Canyon opens up a stall, and it's got this lady in it. She's like, what are you doing? Screaming and stuff. And Canyon's like, don't worry about it. He walks over to her and pops open her head by like grabbing the top of her mouth and ripping it open. And there's a computer inside of her. And apparently this porta potty is a secret tunnel way to this lower level area, where we then meet the building commander. And the building commander's like, Canyon, there's a lot of people that want you to be, captured. And Canyon's like, well, how about all the times I helped you out? So how about you help me out for once? And apparently there's this trip that they want done. The building commander wants done. Canyon calls him Zesty. And apparently this trip is to Earth. And Mike's like, done. I'm his co-pilot. I already lost one job because of him. And I'm not going to lose another job or stay around here, because then they're just going to put me up on the wall on a board. And I don't feel like being like that. So we're going to take this job now. And Cindy's like, it's to Earth. We're definitely taking it. So then we see Canyon working on his space transport a little bit. And Mike's like, hey, so I got a question. What's up with you and Cindy? I kind of think she likes me. And I kind of want to know if you're like invested, or if I can make a move. And then Cindy walks in with a suitcase, and it pops open. All her lingerie starts going up in there, and she's like, oh, silly me, just all my underwear just going up there in space, huh? Then we see Candy's got his rig up and running, and they go to load up the trailers that they're getting ready to take of merchandise that they're not able to check, because the building commander is like, you got to make sure you don't touch the merchandise at all. Don't even look in the trailers. And apparently these trailers look nothing like the other trailers that anyone's ever done, because apparently, according to Cindy, they look creepy. And Canyon also says it looks like they've traveled a long distance already as it is. So then we see Canyon pulling away with his load, and then the officers come up beside him. He's like, you better pull over, Canyon. He's like, I can't. I got this load, and it's got to get to this point in being before the load spoils. And the officer's like, come on, you gotta pull over, we got some questions to ask about Kelly. He's like, I don't know what happened to him, he just went out the window. And then Canyon does like this maneuver, so the back of his trailer hits his, I don't even know, it's a space thing. And anyway, it's the domino effects, and it causes a bunch of other space things to fall over, and one of the officers actually gets his spaceship crashed. But I find it funny, these officers, if you're looking at their helmets, they're pretty much BMX helmets, just painted white, with some buttons and stuff on side of them. And Mike's like, Canyon, that was some of the best driving I've ever seen in my life. He's like, oh, well, thank you, son. Just put the pedal to the metal and play some footsie with Duff and hope for the best. You see Canyon getting dinner ready out of the microwave, and it's tubes of toothpaste, which apparently has, space food inside of it, but it's probably just toothpaste. Probably just toothpaste. So we see them, autopiloting through space, and they come through this, like, junkyard, and Cindy's like, what happened to them? He's like, well, the asteroids and stuff falling through, kind of, blew up a bunch of stuff, and now it's a little bit of scrap, junkyard. And then Betty's like, so, sir, you might want to be a little bit cautious because there's some asteroids coming at you. And he's like, don't make me turn you out, Betty. He's looking through, he's like, I don't see it. But then apparently it's these black space rocks that you can't see until you're just on them. So Canyon has to do some evasive maneuvers to avoid the whole asteroids, and he thinks they're in the safe, but then another one hits them off to the side. Then they lose power for a bit, and then next thing you know, the cooling system in the transport transport is now down. He's like, yeah, you probably got about 2 hours until we burn up alive. So then Cannon's loading up his spacesuit. He's like, if I can go out there and cut the load off, we can go park ourselves in the shadow of one of those asteroids. That way it'll give us enough time to cool down so we can fix the transport, because if we stay locked on to this load, we're not going to be able to fix it in time, and we're going to be stuck and we're going to burn up alive. So then Mike starts loading up too. He's like, all right, come on, let's go do it. Let's go do the job. And Cannon's like, it's a one-man job. Don't worry about it, kid. I'll handle it because I'm the man here. So while Mike and Cindy are in the transport by themselves, as Cannon's trying to fix it outside, they start talking about stuff, and Cindy's like, yeah, I was born in New York, that's part of Earth. And he's like, I've always wanted to go to Earth. I've always been interested about Earth. And then he's like, maybe we'll take off some of our clothes so we can start to cool down because it's getting really hot in here, huh? So we see Mike and Cindy inside, making out, and Cindy's like, I gotta stop. I'm actually engaged to Canyon. I can't be doing this. He promised to take me to Earth if I would, get married to him. And then as Canyon's outside trying to cut the trailer free, 2 little laser beams come out of the side of the trailer and start shooting at him. He's like, oh shit, we're in trouble. And Canyon's like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So he heads back inside the transport, and as the doors open up, he sees, Cindy and Mike in their underwear. He's like, it's awfully hot in here. Take your clothes off and get more comfortable, huh? I see, that's what happened. I went outside to try and save her ass. So they're running out of ideas as to what to do, and then Cannon's like, you know what? I don't have options in this truck, but I did bring a cooler full of alcohol, so let's just drink up. And then as they're drinking up, this space pirate ship comes through and it's heading right towards them, and it looks unique, I guess, but then the front of the space pirate ship actually opens up and pretty much engulfs the whole transport because of how goddamn big it is. We see the transport getting sucked into that new pirate ship, and as soon as it gets fully in, the door closes, all of the gravity drops, so the whole ship drops, and then we see these pirate guys getting ready to break down the door to rush in, and Mike's like, how many guns you got there, Canyon? He's like, I got this one. I don't even know if it actually fires, to be honest with you. So then Cannon's standing there ready with the gun, and he's like, we're friendlies, guys, just don't shoot us, okay? We're friendlies. And the main pirate guy that comes on, he's like, if you try to escape, we'll kill you. If you try to resist, we'll kill you again. If you try to do anything else, we're gonna kill you again. So they take them into where a bunch of these other pirate guys are, and then one pirate guy's like, so what are you carrying? He's like, don't know. Never really cared that much to even know, to be honest with you. He's like, that's bad for you not to be carrying. So he pulls out a taser and tases Canyon right in the nuts. And then this one guy pulls up the manifest, and he's like, it looks like they're supposed to be carrying some sex dolls, apparently. So we see them locking up everyone, and then out of nowhere, the elevator door opens up, and everyone just gets quiet, and we see this general guy coming out with a robotic peg leg, and he's like, here, sir, here's the manifest. It says they're supposed to be carrying some sex dolls, apparently. So then the peg leg captain goes over to Cindy and starts wiping her down, being like, you've been sweating a little bit. She's like, well, it's like 170 in the cap, so yeah, I've been sweating a little bit. He starts wiping her down with his handkerchief, and then he smells it, and he's like, my lady, you have such a appealing body odor to you. So yummy. It's like, oh, okay, you're a freak. I mean, half your face looks like Freddy Krueger anyways, and you kind of look like a Hitler character, but yeah, you're kind of a little bit of a freak. So then he's like, so I want to know, Canyon, what you're hauling, who's assigning, and what everything is. He's like, I know nothing about it. We didn't ask any questions about it. We're just told not to even look at the load. Just take the load from point A to point B. He's like, you're gonna regret that. So then he gets out a grinder. He's like, I'm gonna make you answer my questions one way or another. He's like, I don't have the answers for you. And then the captain's going over to Cindy and starts like filling her up, like up the chest, and we find out that he's got like a claw arm as well. And Mike's like, leave her alone, Sparkplug, leave her alone. He doesn't call him Sparkplug. He's like, leave him alone, you half electric asshole. And then Cannon's like, he actually is very sorry about what he just said. He's very brave with how you deal with your disability and, the medical robotic parts that you have on your body. He's very proud of that. We also find out the captain was screwed over by E.J. Saggs. So that means the captain is then Nebel. So then Cindy strikes a deal with the captain. She's like, I'll have sex with you if you let us go free and, not hurt them at least. And it gets you what you want. And, I'm just a whore, so it doesn't really matter because I was making out with Mike there earlier and I'm going to be married to the other one. So what's the point? And the captain's like, so Cindy, what's going to help you get a little bit more sedative? I got 7 different forms. I got some alcohol. I got some other consumables as he's playing with some white powder. He's like, what's going to make it a little bit more at ease. That's when we then see the captain take off the hat, take off his glasses, and it is Neville. And he's like, I rebuild my brain. And Cindy's like, so you got a homemade brain. What's the big deal about it? And then he's like, I rebuilt every single organ. As he's undressing. And he pulls like a ripcord, like a chain for a chainsaw. And this big light comes out. And she's like, oh my God, stop. You're going to make me puke. Let's not move so quickly, okay? And then apparently the engine down there fires off and misfires, so then he's trying to restart it. He's like, I hope you'll give me a few moments to re-coordinate myself, as I don't use this part of my body that much to reproduce. It's going to take a few starts here. It's like a lawnmower engine, you know, you keep pulling on it too much and like you flood it, you know, then it won't start at all. Yeah, no Viagra here for me. So then we see the bunch of the pirate guys trying to break into the trailers, and Cannon's like, I wouldn't touch that load. It's gonna eat you alive. It's gonna kill you. So then this one guy's like the diamond drill, and he's trying to break through it, and the blade actually breaks on it. He's like, I shouldn't have broke. That's a diamond drill. And then he's like, what the hell is that? And it's one of the laser beam things coming out the side of the trailer again, and it just starts blasting at everybody. And finally, one of the pirate guys finally pulls out a bazooka and finally hits the laser beam with the bazooka, and it actually blows up the laser beam, so they are able to be destroyed. One of the pirate guys goes to check on his other buddy that's been shot by the laser. He's like, oh, what's going on, man? It sounds like somebody's been cooking some hamburger. And he's like, Sam, man, it's you, man. You're the ones cooking the hamburger. You're burning alive. So then as the captain's getting on top of Cindy, she's, freaking out a little bit, understandable, but then she gets closer and pulls off two of his hoses, and he starts freaking out. He stumbles backwards, and his robotic leg actually falls off too at the same time. Then for some reason, she puts on his hat, his glasses, and his jacket, and he's like, you'll never get off this ship alive, you bitch. And she's like, watch me. And then she starts walking like she's, the captain, and, she tells a bunch of the pirate guys to go away, and she walks over to Candy. He's like, hi, how's it going? And the pirate guy's like, so you want me to cut them down so you can kill them? Do you mind if I tenderize them a little bit first? But anyways, this guy's not even looking at the so-called captain's face, because, there's no scarring at all, because the captain has a full face of scars. And then the actual captain comes out the elevator. He's like, you fools, how did you not see her? And then he's like, well, I'm sorry you couldn't be my little concubine. Now you're gonna have to share my crew, all 312 of them at random times and random orders. And guess what? You get to stand here and watch me chop up your friends with this butcher knife now. That's when Cannon's like, Captain, did it occur to you, a load with that kind of protection should probably be checked out first thing before you decide to chop us up into pieces. Probably better to see what's inside that load, seeing it's got a bunch of laser beams that killed, a good chunk of your men. So then they bring in this big giant jet engine looking laser beam thing that cuts a giant circle hole in the side of the trailer, and they finally get access to it, and we're looking inside the trailer, and it's this very weird organisms that then start to light up like disco lights for some reason. We know it's the alien creatures from the beginning of the movie, but still. So then two of the henchmen guys go in the trailer and look around and be like, oh wow, geez, what is all this stuff? And then I know where the captain's like, these are my babies. They're killing machines. And they're like, so what we got here then, Captain? He's like, we got EJ Sags right by the nuts. A little bit of reprogramming and we'll take over the whole company. And then one of the henchmen guys like, look at this. This is a random hose. Guess one that's missing. And the captain's like, crap. That's when we then see the alien creature popping up, and it just laser beams the other henchman guy, and we're assuming it gets the captain as well. And then the one guy just runs out of the trailer. He's like, it's coming! Kill the damn thing! Kill it! We just see this killing machine just going around and pretty much blowing everyone up. We see this one pirate guy shooting at him, and then his face gets all bubbly, and it just explodes. And then this other pirate guy, his whole body explodes, but yeah, his gun belt is still there and just falls to the ground. Cindy frees Cannon and Mike, and then Cannon pushes the cargo bay door to open slowly, so they fight their way back to the ship to get ready to fly out with the cargo still attached. And as they're flying out, we see a bunch of the ship inside just all starting to explode as this alien creature is still fighting off all these pirates that are all over the place. And then we see debris just flying all over the place, and then the whole pirate ship just slowly starts to blow up. Then as they're flying in space, Cindy's like, by chance you guys hear something back there? It sounds like there's something back there. And they just hear a bunch of metal and stuff banging all over the place. It's like, yeah, actually, kinda do, actually, to be honest with you. And then Canyon puts Cindy in the driver's seat and bitch and bay and being like, just keep a course to Earth And Cindy, if you see a red light pop up at all, just get a hold of me on the radio. Me and Mike are going to suit up and go check out the load to see what's banging back there, to see if it's an SOS or if it's trapped. And they head back to the trailer load. And of course, it's a fucking captain of all people still alive, even though he's got no legs and his insides are all falling all over the place. And then Mike's like, maybe I should go get the first aid kit. And Canyon's looking around like, what are you gonna do? He's got no lower half. And Captain's like, don't worry about it. I cauterized the main organs. I'm kinda okay. And then Canyon's like, so how do we stop these things? And Captain's like, if I had an anus, I'd probably be soiling myself right now. We are screwed. There is no way to stop these things. And then we see the captain dying from. And then Cannon's like, for a son of a bitch, gimp murderer, he died okay, to be honest with you. And then we see the side of the load like getting hot and blowing open, and then two of these alien creatures come in and they walk right towards Canyon and Mike, and Canyon just pushes the button and then they just freeze and stop, and it's like, okay, so it does actually work. So then Mike and Canyon walk into the trailer to check out the load and see what it looks like, and that's when we then see some of the aliens slowly starting to come to life. So then Canyon just presses the button over the place, being like, stop, please stop. No more. Then Canyon and Mike go back into the trailer because there were supposed to be 4 of them coming back alive or coming out of the pod. And then they go into the trailer and they look out. And there's a hole going outside. Canyon looks outside and sees that they're going to the cab of the transport. So then they tell Cindy to get their spacesuit on, because then we see the 2 aliens breaking through the cab of the transport now. Canyon goes to hit the button to make them freeze, but they hit the button out of his hand. And of course that control system goes right out the front window that's broken on the cab. Mike tries to grab it, but he just watches it go off into space. And then one of the aliens grows this giant knife out of his arm. And Canyon's like, guys, you gotta help me. This guy's got a big giant Swiss Army knife. We see Mike fighting one of the aliens, and then we see Canyon fighting one of the other aliens. Canyon pulls out that microwave out of the tray and puts it right on top of the alien's head, and then puts a timer on it to cook the alien's head as it's running through the microwave. We see them getting closer and closer to Earth, and then Canyon's plan is to cut the load as soon as they get to the atmosphere. That way it will drop straight down in and incinerate the whole, alien life form on the trailer. And he's telling Cindy and Mike to get into the escape pod and, go rescue herself, essentially. Then Canyon's like, I got some stuff to say to you guys before I go off on my own. I'm going to relieve you, Cindy, of all your duties to marry me. And I want you to, once you get to Earth, take the first freeway and find the first quick, little marry spot, get hitched up, because, you guys are good together. We see Canyon setting up some, C4 stuff on the trailer to, break it from the transport. And then 2 of the alien creatures come up on top, so he starts shooting at them, and he ties himself off to the trailer, and he detonates a little C4. It doesn't break the trailer free, and it just looks to be like it pisses off the aliens some more. But now we got 8 of them staring at him, and he just puts his hands up, being like, I don't have a weapon, please don't kill me, I'm friendly, don't even look at me, guys. Then we see the little space hatch pod coming up behind them, and Canyon gives them the finger, the aliens the finger, and then Mike blasts them, and we see the aliens fly off into space a little bit, or maybe they incinerate. I don't really know what happens at that point in time. They just go bye-bye. Then we see Canyon getting back in the driver's seat and flying his rig down to Earth, but then he hears some banging, and he looks up again, and he's like, damn it, they're back again. So then we see him doing some invasive spinning maneuvers into the atmosphere of the Earth, and we see him just flooring it, and as the boosters are flooring, we see a bunch of the aliens, pretty much disintegrating, and he's laughing about it. And then we see Mike and Cindy coming out of the crash pod on this desert looking area, and Cindy's like, look, he's up there, and we see the spaceship flying off, because then we cut to Canyon, and he's got an alien hand scratching across his face mask. Then as Cindy and Mike are watching up in the sky, and Mike's like, he's gonna be fine. The whole spaceship transport just blows up in the sky. And we just hear in the background Canyon yelling, hey guys, over here. And we see him coming down a parachute. So then we see Cindy taking Mike and Canyon to go meet her mother. And Canyon's like, would you like us to come back when you're a little bit more, recovered? And she's in a hospital bed. And she looks just as young as she did before in the old family picture. We see Cindy sitting down beside her mom, and Cindy actually kind of looks like she's almost older than her mom. And Canyon's like, you're her mom? That picture was taken 20 years back, and you look just the same age as you did in the picture. And apparently Cindy's mom, she had a choice. When she got sick, she could either die or they would freeze her like in Futurama, so she decided to be frozen. We see some secret agents coming into Cindy's mom's room, and they're patting them down, because apparently this room's going to be used for the president to come in to talk to Cindy's mom, apparently, or maybe come in to talk to Canyon, and we find out the president is E.J. Saggs, and Cindy starts unloading on Saggs, being like, you said those stupid things here to try and kill everyone on Earth. You almost got us killed multiple times. Hey, you destroyed our rig. And Saggs, being the liar that he is, she's like, I was not involved. You know, it was someone else in the company maybe that sent it, and saying it was me, but it was not me at all. So then Saggs like, I'm gonna help you guys out. I got you a new rig. It's all fueled up, ready to go. I'm gonna cover your mom's medical bills, Cindy, and also here's this briefcase full of money. And Canyon's like, full cooperation. Don't worry about it, Saggs. We're on your team. Everything's good to go. So then Canyon's like, you're gonna take the money. You guys are getting married. If you guys don't take the money, they're gonna come after you and they're gonna make it disappear. And then Mike's like, are you gonna take the money, Canyon? He's like, no, I don't want anything to do with the money. So then Mike's like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out the window. He throws it out the window, and by the time it's landing by the president's vehicle, the president's getting ready to press a button, and of course there's a bomb inside the briefcase, and the president kills himself because the bomb blows him up. And then they're looking out the window being like, it looks like someone had an accident down there. And Cindy's like, God, we gotta get out of here. So then we see the four of them in their new rig that's attached to a space shuttle and getting ready to get launched off into the atmosphere. And then the outro credits start to play and the movie's over. And I gotta say, on the rotten scale, this one was a fun one. I actually enjoyed this movie a lot, and I thought it was pretty decent. I definitely would watch it again, and I think I might actually do some artwork based off of it. But on the rotten scale, out of 10, I'm giving it a solid 7.5. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought like the concept and everything behind it was pretty cool. The alien design isn't super great by any means, but it's still a fun design nonetheless. And I thought it had a decent cast. I'm not sure why the cast members I talked about weren't like billed as the top 3 cast members to talk about, but you know, IMDb is kind of stupid like that some days. So, which brings us to the point in time where we've got to pick what we're going to be watching next week. So next week we're going to be watching their first time watch. This one's from 1984. It's a sci-fi action adventure movie for an hour and 43 minutes. We're going to be watching for the first time The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Hopefully this one should be a fun one. I think it should be. I've heard a lot of talk about this one as well, and it was actually the next recommended movie after watching Space Truckers. So I figured, why not? Might as well watch it. Hopefully you guys will come by next week for that episode as well. And as always, make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. You can find all our links down below in the description below. I said below twice because I did. Anyways, go check them out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course Spotify. Definitely go follow them on Spotify. I'm assuming they're on Amazon and all that other fun stuff too. But I use Spotify, so go check them out on Spotify. Go follow them. Share all their music. Bunch of cool people. So definitely go check out their stuff. And as always, make sure to check out all my social media links down below at Typhonsign. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Threads. We have the YouTube channel where I post weekly
game videos every single Wednesday. I do live streams, I do very short videos as well. Check out the Twitch channel where I do also live streams over there for video games. So definitely go check it out. We've been playing some Red Dead, some Dead Island 2, some GTA. Been doing some other video games here and there. So definitely go check it out. A bunch of free content for you guys, and make sure to share it all. If you can share it all, I appreciate that very, very much. It helps out a lot. And I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.
City burning, the homeless shudder 'cause the leaves are turning. Winter's coming and it's cold.